have you.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Thank you for joining us on the Priestess View. I'm Goddess Rhonda, and of course, we have with us, as always, our beautiful Goddess Star.
Hi, everyone. Good to be here tonight, and blessed be to you all. And we always welcome to have you guys to be here with us. Go
We're
ahead, please.
always grateful to see you. And so tonight, we're going to be continuing from last week, where we focused on the different kinds of witches. But now, tonight, we're going to focus on the different kinds of witchcraft. But first, as always, before we begin, we like to cast a circle of protection around us.
All righty.
All hail, our lords and ladies of the East, our brothers and sisters, our brother and patron, the sacred element of air, namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee. I charge thee, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you. So it is. So mote it be.
Thank you, and so it is. So mote it be. All hail, our lords and ladies of the South, my brothers and sisters, my brother and patron, the sacred element of fire. Namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee. I charge you, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you, and so it is. So mote it be.
So it is. So it is. All hail, our lords of the West, our brothers and sisters, our sister and patron, the sacred element of water. Namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee. I charge thee, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you. So it is. So mote it be.
So it is, and so mote it be. All hail, our lords and ladies of the North, my brothers and sisters, my sister and patron, the sacred element of earth. Namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee. I charge you, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you, and so it is. So mote it be.
So it is. So it be. And we now bring down the divine white light from the sacred source of all well-being and fill all of our spaces with peace and protection always. So it is. So mote it be.
So it is, and so mote it be.
So I don't know where you guys are tonight, but it is freaking hot here in Albuquerque.
Oh gosh, yes, yes.
It's
It's hot. It's hot in New York. It's very hot in New York.
York. Because you know why? Because we are hot mama witches anyway, so we can take the heat. In fact, we create the heat. Like that is done because we are some hot witches anyway.
We're so hot, it's ridiculous.
That's it. We just heated up the whole world, and now that we have all you other hot witches joining us, everybody's got to get out their fan and some ice cubes because we're going to heat it up in here.
Yes, I've got my fan going, my ceiling fan. I've got everything else going on here. It's nice. It had a monsoon here today. That's how hot it was. It was really bad earlier.
Boy.
Now it's better. Yeah, I think that it was trying to cool us down a bit because it was so hot.
Well, tonight we are going to start off with different types of actual witchcraft. Now, keep in mind that these are definitions that were, someone else's definitions and our definitions. You may have a different definition, and if your definition is different than ours, that's perfectly fine. Although we would love to hear if you do have a different definition, it would be awesome to hear about it in our chat room, which if you are on to the right, if you're on the computer, the chat room is on the right. I don't know where it is if you're on a tablet or a phone. So you could probably figure that out. I'm not exactly the most tech-savvy person in the world, but I'm sure you can kind of figure that out because we'd love to hear your comments and
as usual, yes.
Always. We're always interested in that.
And by now, I think you guys know that you are definitely part of our show. Without you, we don't have this show.
That's exactly
And
right.
we always, if you notice, we Goddess Rhonda and I welcome your comments, your because you guys are very wise. A lot of you are so wise, and we always welcome your comments with everything. Thanks.
Yes, because we love to learn and we don't know everything. And so when you teach us something, we're happy to learn it. You know, whatever you want to throw out there, if you want to enlighten us on something, we welcome it because
Yeah.
we are like education sponges. We just want to learn. That's just how we are, is we just love to learn. And so if you have something you want to say that we're saying that's different, by all means, please go ahead and enlighten us.
Give
Your
a
comments
gander.
will be very welcome.
Yes.
All righty.
All
So
right.
now we're going to start off with a green witch. A green witch utilizes greenery, plants, herbs, flowers in herbal and natural magic, such as creating blends of different plants or using primarily herbs in spell work. Now, you may also find as we go through these, you might say, oh, well, I do that. Oh, well, I do that. Oh, well, I do that. You'll probably will do a lot of these different things if you're eclectic like Goddess Star and I. Now, some of you may not. Some of you may be, dedicated to one thing. That's okay. It's perfectly fine. You do your thing. But I'm just saying that some of you may say, but I do that. Oh, wait, you know what? I do that one too. So at least this is letting you know the crafts that you are working with and schooled with. So if anyone ever says to you what kind of witchcraft, because you just might be doing it naturally and not have a name for it. And so if someone ever asks you, you can say, well, I do this, 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 and this. So anyway, now personally, I have plants in every room of my house except the bathroom. I am a huge plant person. I have to have plants around me. I talk to them. They work for me. I got money plants that bring wealth into the house. And I tried to grow some sage. Didn't work out very well, but at least I got all the sage, the dried sage, and stuff. I just have plants everywhere. I even have a water garden, my Zen water garden in my living room with different water plants that actually bloom, and my praying Buddha with it. So I know that I can say that one of the things that I am schooled in is green witchcraft, because I am a true green person. When I was a child, we used to live across the street from Belmont Lake State Park on Long Island, and I practically lived in that park. Looking back, I'm like, was I crazy? Anything could have happened to me. I would go to the park by myself as a kid, and I wouldn't go to the playground with the other kids. I found little niches inside the woods where I was all by myself. I found one by a stream that was my little spot that I would go to. Someone could have kidnapped me as a little kid in there. No one would have heard me because it was so deep in the forest. But that's where I felt at home. In fact, I literally felt at home with the forest, what I call the forest part of the woods, sitting by the stream, deep in the trees, reading my book and just relaxing. And so there's probably a lot of you out there that love being around plants and trees and sitting away from people in the forest. And I think I lived in or lived close to or frequented a medieval forest probably in several lifetimes, because that is where I'm extremely comfortable, is walking
Yeah.
through a forest. So I think that qualifies me with all of my plants that I have and the work that I do with them. I think that qualifies me to be a green witch. How about you, Goddess Star? Are you a green witch? Or do you do
I'm
green
definitely
witchcraft?
part of it. Yeah, actually, I'm hearing that feedback again. I'm not sure why. Let me double check. I know I checked my thing and it said yes.
I'm going to make sure.
Yeah,
I
mine
did,
is muted.
but I'm going to
Yes,
make
mine is
sure
muted.
I
Yeah.
muted.
Okay. Okay. So I'm not sure why we're hearing that every now and then. As Nate sometimes say, we get these things that coming at us, but it's all good. I hope Nate is
It's
here
all
tonight.
good. It's all good.
Okay. With green witchcraft, it's an interesting thing. You mentioned going into the forest and all of that is great with me. And for a long time, I did not have a green thumb. I just did not. No matter what plant I put in the house, it will not grow. It guaranteed within a week it was dead. And then when I had my surgery in the hospital, at NYU Joint Disease, they gave part of the therapy because I was there for 3 weeks because they had me training to learn how to walk again because both knees were done at the same time. They had a program where they came and they brought plants for you to learn how to plant them and keep them. And that was what? It's been 2.5 years, I believe, and my plants are still growing. It's
Yay!
so beautiful. All the ones I brought back from the hospital, there were 6 or 7 of them, and they all have names. I talk to them every day on how beautiful they are. They are beautiful, and I'm sure they're hearing me right now. And they grow really well. So I kind of got the green kind of a little thumb here hanging out for a bit. So let's see. But it's been great so far. And so that's that part. But in terms of green witchcraft, it's a funny thing about how a lot of people see green witchcraft. A lot of the term kind of it's supposed to be with anyone that incorporates herbs into their magic. And some of the solitary people kind of argue that that's the true solitary witch, or witchcraft of the past, witches that used herbal magic. But as you just said earlier, just about every witch we know do use herbs in their magic. So if that's the case, then we all kind of part of that whole green witchcraft thing. But green witchcraft is considered something that is a very personalized practice, and to person and how they incorporate that herbal magic with everything. Because some may choose to pick only certain parts of it, like maybe just love only or money only, or depending on the person, they'll incorporate all of it. I mean, it's a very personal thing, which is why to a lot of people, a lot of green witchcrafters or green witches are mostly solitary witches. That's how a lot of them are supposed to be practiced. The What's her name? Anne Moura, Annmoura. She's one of the authors that wrote a few books on green witchcraft. I think she wrote like about, I don't know, 4 or 5 different books on green witchcraft. Green witchcraft 1, 2, 3, and 4, I believe. And she even has it with different types of holidays that's celebrated around the world, that's witchy or pagan oriented, pagan observances of different types. And it was really kind of cool because she included a lot of the she moons and working with the she, which is the fae, if you don't know, Sidhe, which is pronounced she, as in Shee. So a lot of their work is based on that. And check out her book. Um, she really has some great ideas on it. I don't incorporate all of my things that she has. Again, being that eclectic witch, I kind of take what I want, the parts that I think works with me, and the parts that does not. I don't remember exactly what parts of it that I did not quite veg with, because it's been a while since I had read her books. But she is really brilliant on her crafting and the way she has it written in the books, and great rituals on how to work with the she's and stuff like that. So do check it out.
And I kind of the point that witches may think that the green witch is the original witch. I'm going to go ahead and argue that point because there are witches that live in the desert that have no greenery.
Yeah.
They use plenty of other things, other elements, other forms, using the earth itself, using sand. They might not have had plants to use back then. Or going way, 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 way back, they might not have known what plant represented what. That's all trial and error. So I'm going to argue that that is not true, that the green witch is the original witch, because
there's a whole argument about that. Yeah, there's a whole argument about that. I stay out of it because, like I said, I'm an eclectic witch, and they can say as they wish, but there's an argument just about every kind of craft, right?
Yeah,
I mean, there's always something that somebody disagrees with or agrees with, and they all think that they're the original witchcraft. I mean, the straight Koreans thought the same thing. I mean, come on, people. There's a whole wide world out there, I don't know how you could possibly think it.
Even if you think in terms of logic, that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
because there's all different kinds of witchcraft, and not everybody had plants. So, and there were witches with no plants. If I didn't have, I love my plants, but if I didn't have a plant around me, I could still practice witchcraft. So, I just wanted to say that. And also, I have a video that's how to create an intention garden, which teaches you how to actually infuse your intentions into the seeds and then grow the plant so that the plant works for you. And I wanted to tell you a funny story. My mother always grew her own vegetables. So we were always out there, she and I, tending to the garden and things like that under her direction, of course. Well, when my mom became sick and she couldn't do it anymore, I decided, I was a teenager, I was like, well, I'm going to plant the garden this year by myself. And I was, trying to do it because my mother had always done it with me. And so I went out there and I got my little rake thing and I was clearing the space of rocks and things like that. And my next door neighbor, Kevin, who's older than me, but he was really funny and sarcastic. I should say he is because he's still alive, and he's still funny and sarcastic. He comes over and he says, "Hey, Rhonda." And I said, I'm clearing this area that I'm going to garden, and I'm clearing it of rocks. And he said, really? And I said, yeah, because I had my little pile of rocks. I'm just taking the rocks out. And he said, Rhonda, what is the earth made out of? I said, rock. And he said, what makes you think you're going to be able to clear all the rocks out of your garden? That's not going to happen unless you're going to dig to China. So I was like, oh, okay, I hadn't thought of that. So I quit screwing around with the rocks and I went ahead and I got to planting. Well, I planted this squash and, peppers, all kinds of stuff. Well, this particular squash plant, I don't know if it was me or if it was the spot that I put it in or what. This thing, I swear, was alive. Everyone was afraid to go near that squash plant. Remember that play Little Shop of Horrors that had the big plant that ate you? This plant, even I was afraid to walk by that plant. This plant was just, you could feel it was a live plant. But after that, I refined my gardening skills, and I still love to. I plant, for anyone out there that wants to get into doing that, you can look up the different intentions or the different energies that the plants cause, and then go ahead and plant that plant either from seeds to grow it with your intention in it, or get one and infuse your intention in. Really good seeds to use, even if you do not have a green thumb, is wheatgrass, which you can get fairly cheaply on eBay or Amazon. And it grows, it will only grow a cycle. So if you plant it at the new moon, it will finish growing at the next new moon, then it'll probably start to die out, and then you start your new thing. So if you ever wanted to do like a monthly where you've got 12 steps to success, and so for each month, let's just say 12 months from now, I want to be whatever it is I'm going to be, and I come up with 12 steps to do that, then each month you can plant a plant to help you get you over to the next step. So I just wanted to throw that in there about gardening, and you can also look at my video also on how to plant an intention garden. So now, Goddess Star, what is our next kind of witchcraft?
Okay, hold on. I'm getting some stuff that they've said in the chat room. Most of it is funny, but I said let me put it out here for you guys. Hold on. I'm coming back. Okay, here I am. Okay, let me see what they've said. What I do is I tend to go to it and then I copy and paste it so that I can have it over here with me, because again, we don't have that beautiful teleprompters yet.
Yet.
That's what I said, yet, because we will. Okay, let's see what they said. Okay, J. Key said, I talked to my cactus one. Okay, I talked to my cactus. One is named Lancelot because he lances a lot. And the other one is Miss Flowers. She blooms in tiny, bright pink flowers in a circle towards the top during the spring and fall. And then No School Like Those School, I think that's Nate, right?
Yeah,
said beautiful. And Jakey said, yeah, very desert out here. Okay. I think that was in response to when you said the desert witch. And then Renee said, Renee Petra, oh, I am not even going to give it a try. Thank you so much. I apologize for if I kind of mispronounce your name. And then she says, ladies, my plants talk amongst themselves. And she said, the Venus flytrap in Little Shop had a name too. I think it was Morris. I thought it was Seymour. Seymour was the guy, right? She might be right. Anyways, I think that was it. Okay, that's it. I said that was just hilarious to me, and I said let's share that with everyone. Okay. The next one that you were talking about was what, the hedge witch, right?
I believe that that is,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one of the things that they said was, okay, I have my thoughts on it and everything, but I'll tell you what people have said. It's also known as an astral title, a type of magic that is oriented around more spiritual work, astral travel projection, lucid dreaming, spirit work, healing, and out of body experiences. All practices included in this magic. Okay. All right. That's one part of what they said. My thoughts on it has always been that hedge witches are basically the other name for calling a kitchen witch, which when we went all think about it, I don't know how about you guys, but I do a lot of work in my kitchen, either that or on my bed. Those are my two main parts that I do a lot of my crafting. But so I guess in a way, see, this is one of the ones where I said, I guess I'm a hedge witch too, because I'm a kitchen witch, because hedge witch and kitchen witch are supposed to be the same. And they kind of came um, from what they said is kind of a traditional British witch. That's what a kitchen witch is. That person does practices at home by the heart, by, I guess, by the fireplace, and concentrates on the practical side of the religion, magic, earth mysteries, and the elements. Okay, so what do you think, Goddess Rhonda, beyond what I just said? All of a
Well,
sudden
I
I got
think
bit.
that's very interesting that they're describing it as more of an astral witch, that
I
does, the
know.
astral work and the dreaming and the spirit work. And I had always associated it with being more green and doing that kind of.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I'm very interested to hear. In fact, I was just going to look because I'm like, that's not. They're not to believe
Yeah,
that I'm saying that my definition is right. Please don't think that. What I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah.
is I just never heard it described that way. And now, of course,
Yeah,
I need to know
me
if
either.
that's the
Me
proper
either. I
way.
have never heard it. And again, it's normally a solitary practitioner, and a lot of them do not belong to any particular type of coven. It's kind of like saying, the country witch, that they're like the folk witches.
Right.
That's along the line of where what I have always known that hedge witch or kitchen witch um, uh, was, because the term hedge witch derives from hedge rider, and which is a similar Northern European synonym for witch. I don't know.
Well, I'm just looking up just to see if there's other, because I'm very curious and I can't help myself. I just need to know when I see something that's different. I need to know. And see, there's actually different definitions of this. We'll have to dig deep. I'm not going to make you
Yeah,
guys
right.
search the internet to figure out which is the right one. But I'm just looking at all of
Yeah.
these different description. One says in a website called Angel Fire, says a hedge witch would have learned their trade or craft by word of mouth from a family member or a former village person. Then we've got a hedge witch is a solitary practitioner of the herbal arts, both medicinal and spiritual. Amazon's got a book. Let's see, Hedge Witch, A Guide to Solitary Witchcraft is a modern guide to the ancient path of the village wise woman or wise man, written in the form of letters from an experienced witch to her two apprentices. Another one says from the Magicians, a website called The Magicians, hedge magic is self-taught magic. So every one of these has a different description of what they feel is a hedge witch. But maybe what the problem is that we're looking up hedge witch, but she's saying hedge magic. Now that could be two different things. And maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, I know Erin Murphy Hiscock, Hiscock, she wrote a book called The Way of the Hedge Witch. And then I know Silver Raven Wolf also wrote a book, I think it's called Hedge Witchery, something like that. I know she wrote a book on it too. I have a book somewhere there. It too. I don't know if there are many books on it, but the one that was always recommended to me by people are The Way of the Hedge Witch by Erin, Arin. So I mean,
Well,
you guys, I could put it in the
no, go ahead and put that in the in the chat room. But
maybe you're right. You know, maybe you're right in terms of like what maybe they were meant hedge magic, because hedge magic, the hedge magic I know of, you know how when we do the four elements, right? Earth, air, fire, water. I know they include what is it? Metal, the different ions. There's a whole list. I can't remember them all, but there's a whole list more that they add to it. And they've added, and it's more of supposedly done by that folk kind of a thing from the country or the village or whatever. So I don't know. You can. It's good books to look up. So I'll put this right now in the chat room for them, and they can check it out.
It's interesting to research because everything that I just read has something different to it. And so it also lets you know that people they define their crafts differently. And that's not to say that any one of those people with their own definitions is wrong. It's right for what they do and what they believe in. But now, of course, I am curious because now I'm going to have to dig to get to what is the actual original meaning of it. That's important to me. So that's something I'm going to highlight this. So when I get a chance, I will take a look at that to see if I can figure that out. But what's interesting is because none of this here really, when I think of witches, I think more green witches and things like that. But there are witches that do a lot of work in the ethers. They go into a trance. This sounds more to me like trance magic, where you'll go and you'll astrally project, or you'll go into another world and do your work, or do work within different realms, do work with lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is awesome for anyone who has that gift. I would take that more of something different than a hedge.
Yeah.
But again, because everyone seems to have so many different opinions about what it means, I'm definitely not going to discount what she's saying, because for all I know, you know, that's actually the proper term, if that was the origin of it. I just don't know, and we'll have to take a look at that. But I do want to talk about whatever you call it a hedge witch or a spiritual witch or whatever. There is a form of witchcraft that's done in the spirit world and in different realms. You know, I'm sure you do this, Goddess Star, and I'm sure plenty of you out there that go on, you know, spiritual journeys where you go to different places, you meet different beings, different guides, things like that, you know, talk to maybe an expert in what it is that you want to do in another realm. And so I would liken it more to that than actually, you know, being a hedge witch. But again, that could be the actual original term for it, for all we know, because if you had no, you know, your biggest source of magic is your mind. And so if you had no tools, no wands, no herbs, no candles, no jack, if you've got your brain, you could be the most powerful witch in the world. And you can go into different places and different realms. I personally love spiritual journeying. I have barely had a chance to do it in a long time, but I used to do it all the time. And I just love that. I love meeting different types of, you know, animals and creatures, and taking long journeys. So
The walk, yes, absolutely.
if you do that as a part of your practice, work within dreams, work within other realms, go journeying, that sort of thing, go to other worlds, that is another form of witchcraft that is extremely powerful. It really does work,
Yes.
especially if you're taking yourself, when you take yourself out of your body, you're a pure energy. You can really use that energy without your body getting in the way. So I thought that's interesting, though, that she calls it being a hedge witch. And I will look into see if that is the original term, or the
Yeah,
original meaning of it, but it might take me some time
yeah,
to
yeah.
go ahead and do
Done
that.
some research on it, and that's some of the things that I remember saying. I mean, reading about it, and also, I mean, but this other part that some of it, some of the hedge witchery supposedly possesses some of the shamanic undertones. But then just about every type of witchcraft kind of does that because we kind of, like you said, we journey between the worlds. We are the ones that do that journey or that path through between the worlds, and we do travel back and forth. So the shamanic part has always been part of witchcraft. Even though some people relegate it to the Native Americans or whatever, no, then they do not have the term under lock and key kind of a thing. That term has been around for everyone around the world that's been in any kind of crafting, and whether it's voodoo, hoodoo, whatever it is around the world that they are all practicing, they do travel between the worlds. It's always been that way. All right. So it depends. Again, I mean, I would look it up, and if you guys are interested in it, there are books on it, the ones that I recommended to you guys, or maybe you may have others that you might be interested in. You're welcome to look it up and get back to us about it. Let us know. But really quickly, Goddess, I just wanted you to know that in the chat room, they're saying they're hearing a lot of feedback that, and I'm not sure why, because we did both put our parts on mute. And Nate said that he does not think it's us, that he thinks we're too powerful.
Well, and you know what?
So,
You are so right. You were just right on the money, because I told you a bunch of hot and powerful witches up in here, and with the heat, it's too much. But, you know,
I love Nate.
unfortunately,
Nate is just Nate and Jakey and all of them in there. They're awesome people.
I just, you know, unfortunately, we can't control what's going on with Google Hangouts and YouTube, but we're definitely both muted, and so I don't know where that's coming from, but I apologize if it's irksome to you. Will, you know, maybe I can send an email and see, you know, what possibly could be causing this. All right, what is our next one? We've got the Dream Witch. Now, the Dream Witch, and it says a possible variation of the Hedge Witch,
Yeah,
is
see?
mindful and internal magical practice, mainly based from interpreting dreams and or engaging in lucid dreaming. Those who intensify, as this may decode symbols and messages in the dream world, similar to how one would use a divination technique. Now, I do a lot of dream analysis for my clients, and a lot of people, including myself, get a lot of messages through dreams and dream symbolism. And I think that would probably be true of a lot of different types of witches, where dreams, you know, I think it's very common when you talk about people, when you're training people, latent psychics, on how to take control of their power and use it. Almost, I would say like 95% of them said it started off with dreams that came true. And I know with me, it started off with dreams that came true. Not very nice dreams that came true, but dreams that came true. And so I think that's probably one of the earliest signs of being psychic, is your dreams that come true, or things, you know, that happen in a dream. And you wake up and you can't believe it's a dream because it was so real. It was so lucid and so vivid that you're like, was that a dream? That couldn't have, you know, happened. And so I think a lot of us do dream magic. You know, now there are those who actually have control, where they, you know, have you ever had a dream and you knew you were dreaming, like this is a dream, I know this is a dream. Like, I've had that happen to me plenty of times. Like, I know this is a dream, and I'll make myself wake up or I'll do something in the dream that I want to do. That's a part of lucid dream. That's dream witchcraft, where you're actually creating an outcome by seeing it in your dream, and then it happens in reality. And I do think that a lot of people have that. You know, I don't think that I think it's something that's normal. At least that's normal for me. What about you, Goddess Star?
Absolutely. And it's interesting that you said that you go in and you change things. Um, because for many years, especially when I was younger and I had my son was, I think he was about 5 or 6 years old. It got even more so, and I think that's because of my protective side regarding my boys. And because with me, it was always I would have the lucid dreaming, and I'll be like, okay, I'll go along with whatever it is. But I became this warrior in my dreams when it came to my boys, because I would have such vivid dreams about them being hurt, because there was a man that was hurting some kids in the village area where I lived in the city here in the East Village. And I dreamt him. He was so vivid that when they finally caught him, it was exactly the person. And one was supposed to be an encounter with my son, and I did not like the result. It was not pleasant. I'm not even going to say what had happened. It was not good for my son. And when I dreamt it, I remember thinking of, remember Dream, what's his name? Freddy Krueger, the one where the Dream Warriors?
Yeah,
I
sure.
thought of them. And I remember waking up out of it, and I was so angry and I was so upset. And I said, that's it. I'm going back in. And I drank some water, and I literally felt I jumped right back into that dream. And I said, I'm going in and I'm coming out and I'm changing that exact end result. And I'm kicking ass and taking names. And I went in, I changed the outcome of it. And I think it was like 2 or 3 days later, they caught the guy, because I was not playing around with this man. I'm like, you're not touching anybody else. And I remember that. And I remember, there's a lot of things that over the time that I've done similar, but that one was more vivid for me because it was such a personal thing to me that I remember literally, it took me about a week or whatever going in and saying, that's it. I'm changing the end results of whatever it is. And when I do that, I do take on the persona of the Dream Warriors, I think it was called, from Freddy Krueger, where they went in and they became that super fighter within their dreams. And that was me. I took on all of that, and I said, I'm going in and I'm not coming out without changing what I needed to have it not be what I saw before. So I think we all kind of do it in one form or another, whether we realize it or not. But you do take on that persona, or you do become, or if depending on how disturbing it is for you, you want to change the outcome, you know. And depending on who you are, you will do that, and you'd be amazed at yourself and the results that come out about it, because you're like, I have to change what I'm seeing because it's just wrong on so many levels and it's so disturbing, So I don't know if you've ever had any of those experiences, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
I've
was
had a
not.
lot of those experiences. A lot of the things I've seen, are really very frightening. I don't know if
Disturbing.
you remember, this was many, many years ago. The Katie Beers case. It was a little girl who got kidnapped. I think it was on Long Island, but I'm not sure. I mean, we're going back at least 30, 40 years. It's such a long time now ago. And it was all over the news, and everyone was looking for her. And I was watching the news. It's actually one of the reasons why I quit watching the news so much. I was watching the news, and I was watching the story, and as they were talking, the TV disappeared, and I saw this little girl with a chain around her neck in a box under the ground. And I totally freaked out. I didn't know who to call. I knew if I called the police, they were going to think I was nuts and hang up the phone on me. I couldn't say whose floor she was under. I didn't know what to do. And I was like, they got to find her. Well, do you know they found her? I think it was the next day. Under her neighbor had cut a basement that he hid. It had like this cutout in the floor that you pulled up and you walked down, and he had her underneath his floor. There was a table on top of it and a rug, and they moved the table, they moved the rug, and they found the thing, and she was under the ground in a box with a chain around her neck. And I was that freaked me out really badly, though. That was really bad because that was a little kid. that really freaked me out. And they say they did a follow-up story on her years and years later. She's doing great because she was really young at the time, and children are really resilient.
Oh, I'm
They are
glad. I thought
much
she.
more resilient than we adults, because any adult who went through that would still be going through PTSD. But little kids are just amazing in what they can deal with and be okay. So that was one of the more nightmarish ones. But one of the things that that was one of the first signs for me was also I would know when my mother was going to have a grand mal seizure, and I would beg her not to leave the house, and she wouldn't listen to me, and she would. And then after that, she started listening to me. So, it's different. I do think that your dreams experiences are probably some of the first things that you experience that lets you know about your different gifts, because pretty much every student that I've taught told me about dreams that came true. That's how something they experienced as children. So I personally think that that's one of the signs, is when you have these dreams that come true. But moving on, Goddess Star, what's our next one?
Hold on one second. I just realized that they had said some really great stuff in there. Jakey had, hold on, let me bring it over here. I'm so sorry. One quick second. This is me trying to do this fast again. The back with the with us and the teleprompter that we need. Yeah, Jakey said. She said. What she said. I've heard kitchen witchcraft described as using whatever they have available for whatever spell or magic too. A spatula for a wand is just as good, for example. I thought that was really cool. And she's right, because
Yes.
I've actually heard not just a spatula, I've heard, those wooden spoons that they have, and a lot of them used to have the wooden spoons to cook with and everything. They use that as well. So that's brilliant. And thank you, Jakey, for reminding me. And as usual, like I told you guys, you always have such amazing things to say and to remind us about. So that's wonderful. Thank you.
Can I just add something to that? I just wanted to add to that this is your natural wand right here. You don't need a piece of wood. You don't need a piece of metal. You got one built in right here. Just wanted to throw that, your natural wand, your natural atome. You got like 5 of them, so feel free to use them. All right, go ahead, Goddess Star. What's next?
Okay, the next one is called a C. Is that a C or a C type of witchcraft, I guess? Interesting. I never heard of this one.
Oh, this is so neat.
But in a context. Let's see. It says, hold on. You got everybody's postings coming up at the same time on these things. Okay, it says a type of magic derived from materials and abstract ideas involving the ocean and the oceanic world, can be worked using seashells and bones, sand, driftwood, ocean wood, etc., and a sea which might draw the energy from that of the sea. I think that's interesting because, honestly speaking, I use all of it. So I guess that's why I don't see it as someone basically saying I'm only doing dream witchcraft or I'm only doing sea witchcraft or whatever it is. Because to me, I'm practicing it all because they're all so powerful. They're all here for our use and for our working with. I mean, it's the earth, planet. Whether it's a cement out there, which is partially sand, your disposal. That's just my belief system with it. But I definitely use ocean water and seashells and bones. As a matter of fact, if you guys see my shell here, I have a tendency to use shells and I have many different types with my crafting. Depending on type of magic I'm working with, or if I'm working with a sea goddess or whatever it is, I tend to push a lot more of the seashells, or I've had whatchamacallit. It's something with my tongue. My tongue, I'm not trying to remember it. Coral. I have a lot of coral that I brought back from Barbados and from Trinidad and Tobago. It just felt so beautiful, and I felt like, I don't know how to explain how I felt when I held it in my hand. So whenever I traveled around the world, even in Italy, I brought back these things, and I had them wrapped in plastic. And in the airport, they asked me, well, what is all that about? I said, well, they just rocks for my kids. I never let them know that I'm not going to go into all of what I'm using it for, because I kind of brought them back with me. And so I have the coral and the different things. And I think it's kind of wonderful to work with that. If you have ones that are not just from the store, but you've actually picked up from the ocean yourself, I think that's even more magical, because you and it found each other, and I think a lot of it, especially with the ocean, I think a lot of it is meant for you, because suddenly you'll see it by your feet or nearby you, and you pick it up and you get a lot of answers or thoughts from it. And that goes in general across the board. But, from the ocean, if you're walking on the sand, a lot of times you would find these things that you just like out of the blue, and there you are. So definitely, I think we all kind of practice that. What do you think, Goddess?
I'm a Pisces, and I come from Long Island, so the ocean is very important to me. Ocean, lakes, all kinds of water. I've always got seashells around. I have them in different rooms. And then I have this great piece of wood that has these holes in it from fish swimming in and out of it. And so I love anything to do with water. I have to be by water. I still, for the life of me, have no idea why the universe sent me to the desert. I don't get it. I don't know why I'm here, but I do feel a need to return to the ocean. I've always got to have, even my apartment, the pool is right outside. I have to have water around me. And we actually had a sea witch on our show, Queen Mother Amaku. I want to see if she had a book, but she is a big time sea witch.
Yeah.
And she actually does ceremonies at I think Coney Island. She does ceremonies, water ceremonies in that beach there. You can look at our past shows. You'll see that we had her on, Queen Mother Amaku. And then she also has a website. And I don't know if she has, I know that she wrote a book. I can't say if the book that she wrote is on being a sea witch. I'm just looking up her, here it is, her website, just to see. And she also has a YouTube channel. Let's see, meditations, rune cards, books. Let's see if she has a book on sea witchery, because it really is, if you live by the ocean, and I'm very envious of you if you do, because I so miss the ocean so very badly. All right, let's see if she's got a book on it. She's got a lot of books here. I don't see one, though, that's particularly about being a sea witch. But you can look up her YouTube channel, and it's Queen Mother, I Am Like Mary, AK. In fact, I'm just going to put her website in the chat room so you don't have to try to remember what I'm saying. And then this way you can look her up, because she's a big-time sea witch. And she does a lot of different rituals in New York at the ocean. And so I wanted to throw that in there. And she was a great guest. She was very knowledgeable. She was an awesome guest. So please, by all means, look her up. She's awesome. And I see, as I put this into the chat room, we have our good friend Nate here. Well, here, let's scroll up a little bit here, because we've got a very active chat room today, which I just love. And we've got Ginger, who says precognitive dreams and lucid dreaming together. Great job, God Star. And then we have AK Imitation, who says powerful. And we have No School Like the Old School, who says that's what I'd be our dear Nate. Finns were preferred as sailors in the northern ports of Europe because a great many of them were sea witches and could calm the winds. That's very interesting. So that's, you know what, that's actually probably very way cool, that I could see, before we had planes and trains and automobiles, merchants had to use the oceans to get to their ports of trade. And they relied heavily on air and wind magic to fill their sails to get there. And they probably also had the sea witches to protect them from, you know, tidal waves and to keep things calm or to make the waves push where they're going. And then he also has, there's also records of sea witches protecting their country via raising storms from England all the way to Japan. That's fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing that. See, this is what I love. I love learning things. That's a little piece of knowledge that I didn't know, and I really do appreciate that, Nee. Thank you so much. But yeah, I miss the ocean. You have no idea how much I miss the ocean. When I used to work in Carl Place in New York, I would drive like 30 minutes out of my way so that I could drive over the Beach Causeway, and then the Robert Moses Causeway, just so I could drive by the ocean on the way home. And I really do miss the ocean. So I can totally dig the whole sea witch thing. What do you think about being a sea witch? Got a star.
I a beautiful set of comes up with new things. Do you have any feedback? Because I can hear some of it right now, and I don't know what else to do. We're doing the best we can. But this is one of the shells that I picked up in Barbados, and it was so beautiful. And I always I've had it on my altar for a long time, and I honestly can't find the corals that I had, but I do still have those. But anyways, yeah, I think that the sea witches sound so interesting, and I love the information you're providing us, Nate, because it's things that I had not heard of myself.
I love it.
As God has said, it's knowledge, because we don't all know everything, but each of us has something that we picked up from somewhere, and you combine that knowledge together, so powerful. So it's empowering all of us with this knowledge. So it's amazing, and thank you. As
Thank
usual.
you. I just wanted to say, for anyone who like lives in the desert and doesn't have seashells, you can get great seashells if you go to Sprouts, grocery store here. And because this is what I do, I buy their stuffed shells. They have stuffed shells, different kinds of, like with crab meat or shrimp or whatever it is. And then after I finish eating them, I clean those seashells, because that's what they're made in. And I have a whole collection of seashells just from Sprouts, from food that I ate, because I like to have seashells because it brings the ocean to me. But anyway, I just wanted to add that. All right, so what do we have? Next, we have the storm or weather witch. Magic that is worked by combining one's energy with the energy of weather, and most commonly rain. Weather witches will do things like collect rain, snow, water, absorb the energy of a lightning storm, whistle up or manipulate the wind, predict the weather, etc. Now, I don't know of a single witch that does not collect water, like full moon water or rainwater. We don't actually get much snow water here in New Mexico, but when it does rain, it's cool to get that water and to use it. I think we all kind of work also with the weather as well. Now, I will say this, and being a storm, we're talking about storm and weather magic, twice this month. Last October, was it last October? Yes. Last October, I bought a new car, my first new car in like 25 years. I drove the same car. I bought it off the lot in 1994, brand new. And then last year, 2016, so I had it for 22 years before it finally had to go to the big car graveyard in the sky. And 1 month after I bought it, I went out to eat with one of my friends, and we're sitting there, and all of a sudden you just heard like a freight train. We turn around and look, and all of this hail was raining down on my beautiful new car. And all I could do was just like, no, no, no. And I was so annoyed because, you get all these little pock marks in your car. And so 2 more times. Now this month we had 2, and when I say they were 30-second hailstorms, because I was out, when I saw that hail, because both times I was at the store, and I closed my eyes and I said, no more hail, no more hail, stop the hail. And it stopped twice. I had that happen to me just this month. So at least I might not be a full weather witch, but I'm sure as hell a hail witch, because there's no more hail that's going to be hitting my car. And it was actually rather fascinating, because literally within seconds, the hail stopped. And that's not normal here in New Mexico. Once it starts hailing, it hails, and it's like boulders. So I can attest to manipulating the weather in that way, and I'm sure other people do too. Have you ever had an occasion to manipulate the weather?
Absolutely. I think we all kind of do in one form or another, because I've had it where, like, even to give in today for an example, it was like a monsoon out there. And I remember going in to one section of like McDonald's or whatever, and I said, okay, this cannot last much longer because I need to get home. We have the show to do. And as it's monsoon like crazy, it came down. And then I said, okay, I needed to stop right now. And like 2 minutes right after, it stopped. And I said, just let me wait till I get home, okay? I would really appreciate it. And then you can do whatever you have to do. And I literally walked home the rest of the way. And as soon as I got to the door, I should have said as soon as I got inside, as soon as I got to the front door downstairs, it went, and it came back down again. I'm just like, okay, I should have, just said a little bit more. But I think all of that is really cool that we all have certain abilities depending on how much we need something to be a certain way. And I think that works across the board for just about anything, any types of magic that we are working, whether it's, I mean, you were talking about the sea before and the storm and all of that. I mean, I almost drowned one time in the ocean. I was visiting Trinidad and Tobago. A storm came up and I was almost drowning. And I'm just saying, please, 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 I cannot die right now. I'm too young. And it's almost like I have no idea how it happened. And all of a sudden, there was a man with his hand reaching up and pulling me up and literally holding me up and pushed me out. And I'm thinking the man is with me, and there was no one. I remember it being a man because it was all hairy arms. And there was nobody there. People said that I just came up on my own. I said, okay. I don't swim well back then. I don't swim well now, but it happened. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay. Whatever happened. I am thinking it was one of those mermaids or anybody else, because they said no one saw anybody. So I'll take whomever it is, and I thank them very much for whatever they did. As I'm looking here, and you guys saw me looking back to the side of me, I had my big candle here on, lit up, and the fan is going, and I did not realize, and I looked down, and all of here is laden with candle wax all the way down the side, everywhere. And I'm like, oh no, my sheet, everything. Candle wax all the way down, and I'm looking at it going, it's not happening. I'm gonna have to clean all that up after. But anyways.
That's okay. We have all had our candle wax nightmares.
Okay.
I wanted to show you guys this. This was a gift. I mean, I didn't even know what. I'm like, well, what is it? And the reason they bought it was because of the butterflies. And they know how much I love butterflies, but what it is, it's a rainmaker. And what you do, I don't know how well you can hear it.
Beautiful.
You can hear it sounds like the rain is falling. So I use it to rain money down upon me, joy, peace, whatever it is that I want. I've just turned it into what I want to rain down upon me. Or you can actually create rain with it by turning and turning and turning. And so I just wanted to show you that, a rainmaker, in case you've never seen one before. I don't know if you can hear it, but it sounds like rain falling.
Yeah, I have two of them. One of them was handmade similar.
You can use it to rain down upon you whatever it is that you want. You can just charm it magically. So I just wanted to share that as well.
Beautiful, yeah.
Put that over there. It'll be safe. All right, so let's see what we got next going on here.
The cottage and heart.
We did storm and weather, right? So it's your turn, Goddess Star. What's next? I think.
Okay, it's cottage and heart, as in HEARTH, the heart meaning the fireplace, or the middle of the center of your home. That's considered the heart of your home. And wherever is the main area that you guys congregate and you do many things in, that's your heart of your home, whatever it is. And majority of times it was, in olden times, it was that place where the fireplace was, because everybody kind of congregated around it, keep warm, which is why it was called the heart area. So anyways, let me go ahead and read that. A slight variation from kitchen, meaning kitchenette, Magic that is weaved, worked, or imbued into mundane tasks around the house or for loved ones. Cottage heart magic may be worked into daily tasks such as cleaning, cooking, or any hobby. Okay. It kind of reminds me a bit of a combination of like they said, the kitchen witch and or the hedge witch kind of a thing.
I agree, although right underneath it is kitchen magic.
I
So
know, I know.
it's very interesting. I think all of us do, work. I don't know about you, Glenn, which I'm sure you do, that I charm. Everything that you eat has a spiritual and
Yeah.
energetic property to it. And I bring that out. I don't believe in wasting anything. And I think that you need to bring out those positive properties to infuse yourself with. Because when you eat something, you actually ingest that energy, then you can project it out as it becomes a part of your own energy. But this is not just stuck in the kitchen. This is throughout the home. And I think a lot of us, we make floor washes, we make doorknob washes to charm the doorknobs, to bring us customers throughout our home, or maybe we place different stones or herbs or things like that to protect an area of the home, or to protect our home in general by putting things in the corners or around your house, whatever it is your particular modality is. So I would think that all of us, I can't say all of us because I'm not going to pretend that everybody does the same thing, but I would think that a large majority of witches would also be known as a cottage or a hearth witch. Like when you're sweeping and you're sweeping up all the negativity out the door, or things like that, or sweeping after a guest to sweep their crap out the door, to
Yep,
get their
yep.
energy out. So I think we all kind of utilize that in some form or fashion. I'm sure you do, right? Got to start.
Absolutely. And I actually, with some of my clients, I tell them if anybody come to their home that they did not invite or they provided any negative energies and stuff, you cleanse it and you use your broom and you cleanse out the area. You brush their energies out the door. You cleanse their energies out the door. You know, it's so funny. I had this thought that ran through my mind for a minute there and it kind of left. But part of it is really that whole cleansing of your home, or saying to yourself that I'm cooking up a storm for, anything that you do, whether it's for your family, or a lot of people do cooking for to find a love person or a love interest. They have a date and they cook a certain day. Like, no, I want to come and have you. I want to cook for you. And they cook all these meals, all based around, or all these dishes, all based around the idea that we're having a nice time together, and it's a love match, and they want to have this person in their lives. So a lot of that is whatever you're doing on a daily basis, everything to me, I'm very much like Goddess Rhonda. I charm and I do everything with the intent. Whether it's my regular food that I just made with my son, the whole idea is that it nurtures him. Most of it I tend to do it let it nurture my son and let it nurture myself, and anybody else that we are feeding here. And so most of it is just in the mundane sense for me, but we do it all, in one form or another, or when we pass it on to our clients, um, in helping them to make their lives charmed in that sense. So it works all the way around. What about you, Goddess Rhonda? Do you do that as well with some of your clients?
Oh, all the time, constantly. I charm everything, and I even have a thing, because there's a big thing that I've heard that kind of irritates me, but everyone is entitled to their beliefs, where you'll hear people say, vegan people especially, that it's evil that we eat meat because we're hurting living creatures and things like that. Well, plants have souls too, and they feel pain. Just because they don't say ouch when you bite into a piece of celery does not mean that it does not feel pain. You're just not seeing it in their big puppy dog eyes, or things like that. And so what I do is, when I cut, before I even cut any vegetable or fruit or anything that is live, I will say, thank you for your sacrifice. May this be painless for you. Anesthetized, 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 numb, numb, numb. And I purify and consecrate you, sending all adverse energies into the light to be healed and resolved, as we are all healed from them. and bring down the divine white light from the sacred source of all well-being, and fill this food with purity, then peace, protection from adverse energies, and empowerment for me. And I need you to please convey all of your wonderful, positive, powerful properties, gifts, blessings, and protections. And please accept my divine gratitude and blessings in return. I bless your souls. May they go on to a higher purposes. May your bereaved be comforted. And thank you so much for all that you are contributing to me. And thank you for restoring my divine optimum nutrition for my divine optimum good health. And so I have a whole thing that I say over plants before I even eat them. And even if I'm eating a hamburger, I mean, obviously I didn't kill the cow to get the hamburger, I will still bless that cow's soul and thank them for contributing to my optimum good health. So that's very important to me, to show respect for anything, because we are eating living creatures. That's a part of the food chain. Sorry, we're not going to starve to death and eat air, because we feel sorry for everyone. But you can show respect, you can show gratitude, you can bless their souls, you can bless the souls of their ancestors, you can bring out all of the positive properties that they can convey to you, because, you know, different vegetables, they do different things for you. And so these are all things that, you know, even with a cup of tea, even, and we're getting, well, I shouldn't say that because we're going to be doing a tea witch soon, so I'll save that for them. But pretty much everything that I eat or cut, I show respect, I bless their souls, and I show gratitude, and I invoke the properties that they carry that are going to help me, not just the nutritional properties, but the magical properties as well. So I have this whole thing that I do. So, and I want to say to the vegan people, you know, hey, you know what? Maybe from your planet where you originate from, that's what you eat and that's what your body can handle. I have no problem with that. That's your business. But please understand that plants have souls too. So you're not sparing any souls by just eating plants. I just wanted to bring that out there. Maybe they're not furry and cute like a dog or a cat, or have feathers like a bird, or, you know, whatever kind of animal that you love, but they are still souls. And so we need to show respect. It's one thing that just, like, I flinch is when, you know, you're watching one of these shows with people with the vegans, and they just snatch a plant leaf off of a plant without saying nothing and bite into it. I'm like, I'm saying ouch for the plant myself. I'm like, dude, you know, don't do that. Don't assume that you just have the right to go ahead and be rude like that and just, you know, snatch things and because it's a plant. I actually saw someone say, plants give their lives, don't eat animals because, you know, they're furry and blah, blah, blah. But plants are here and they give their lives willingly. And I'm like, really? Did the plant tell you that? Did that lettuce that you're about to eat say, go ahead and stab me with a fork and crunch me up with your teeth because I am here to sacrifice myself for you? I'm guessing the plant didn't tell them that, and they need something to soothe their conscience. Well, guess what? The plants are not here to willingly give their lives, nor are the animals or anything else we eat. It is a part of the food chain, and it's about survival. So while we have to eat to live, we can still show tremendous respect and love and gratitude. We can bless those plants. We can bless their ancestors that came and those that are going to come behind them because they're living beings. And so I know I just went on this whole tirade about that, but I get very irritated.
But I understand where that tirade came from because I get it a lot, you know, with the vegans in New York City and them coming at me about it. I'm like they're not making any logical sense. Do your thing and I'll do my thing.
And listen, you know what? And if, like I said, if that's what your body can handle, if all you can eat is vegetables, that's fine. I'm not making fun of you. You have to eat the way you feel you need to eat or how you're called to eat. What I'm saying is, don't look down on the rest of us because we eat a hamburger or a fish sandwich or something like that, because I can tell you, I bless everything and I show gratitude before it even touches my lips. And I think that at least if I can't, you know, live on air, I can at least show respect. I can send energy in to numb that plant so that it's not feeling the cut of the knife. And do I know for sure? I can feel an energy shift. But you know what? Even if it didn't work all the way, at least I can say I tried. At least I tried to spare that plant pain. And so I just wanted to emphasize that, because I flinch when I see people just pluck things from a plant or a leaf, or pull something up, you know, and they don't do it. It's just, I don't know. I'm just going to be quiet about it now. Would you like to rant about that, Goddess Star, or add anything to that?
I'm definitely ranting something like that, but I did want, you know, like the thing with, you know, for some reason. When we did our wand class, I told people, do not go out and pick branches. Please look for the ones that are on the ground, beneath the trees, that have dropped naturally or whatever it is, or have been cut by somebody else, which really hard for me to see, because in New York they're constantly taking the trees, and for whatever reason I'm cutting off all these big branches and everything, and it really bothers me, because I can almost feel the tree crying out in pain, and I literally feel those things, and I'm just like, you know, the disrespect that's given, and trees give us so much. Plants and trees give us so, without them we won't breathe.
That's right.
We don't have air that we breathe, and you treat them with such disrespect. In general, people are either, you know, a lot of times you see there's a beautiful willow tree, or I forgot the name of the tree in Tompkins Square Park, and I watch adults, forget children, adults grab onto this big branch and they drag it down and they're swinging from it, and I'm like, I literally have reprimanded adults, and I've said, are you kidding me? You're going to try to break off this big branch from this tree. You're a big adult. Are you kidding me? And then they look at me all funny and they stop like little kids, you know, feeling guilty. And I'm looking at them, you know, it's just respect, you know, because I literally feel it when I'm around trees and someone's broken a branch or something. And I feel very badly, and I wish I could heal them. A lot of times I go up to them and I'm wishing it into their bodies and into their branches, how much that they can get as much healing as possible. So it bothers me on that end. So I don't want to go into the rant further, but yeah, you kind of said a mouthful there for me, because I'm not wasting anything, but I'm also not going to be what I would term hypocritical about it and say I'm eating one thing to protect the other thing. You're not making any sense, you know.
It's not
But
logical.
I respect your choices if you respect mine. Very simple. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Respect. And we've got
You know,
more comments in our chat room. We've got our J Key, who says, home is my strong point. Even when I tried covens, my magic was stronger in the homes, theirs or mine, than any other building or park, or during pagan events like Beltane or Mabon, which is cool. She also says, where there's a lot of people and space. Rhonda's tried my baking before. It's magical. I am here to attest to the fact that J Key is an awesome baker. Her cookies are, so they literally just like melt in your mouth. She made me this huge batch of cookies. I had to hide them from myself. I had to like get them out of my face because I couldn't stop eating them. They were so good. So I do want to, you know, absolutely attest to that. And Nate says, y'all giving me the holy goosebumps. I'm glad that we're getting the holy goosebumps. And he says, gratitude is holy. And J.K. also says, I think the Gnostic Christians that had a bit of an issue with how our planet operates, in order to live, you have to eat life. They weren't too fond of that. And Alicia says, I'm very attuned to the plants I grow. It's funny, but there is an energetic exchange and I become emotionally attached to my plants. Absolutely. Because they are alive. There's an actual plant energy is beautiful. I agree with you completely, Alicia. I'm sure there's an excellent book. It's out of print, but you can probably get it used, called The Secret Life of Plants, that will teach you a lot about plants, how to communicate with them, their energies, all kinds of things. And so you might want to get that. It's an excellent book for those of you who are interested in learning about working with plants and plant magic. All righty. So Next, after we did cottage and hearth, we did kitchen. We just did kitchen, right?
I
We did, because
no,
yeah, because I was just talking about
yeah, but I don't think
food.
you read what we had on it.
All right, so we'll talk, we'll just say kitchen magic. That is, kitchen magic is work specifically through kitchen craft, such as herbal mixtures, brewing, baking, and cooking, and honors many aspects of the natural world, including herbs, crystals, fae, and the elements. And so, I think we pretty much covered. I don't know if there's anything else we can talk about. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
They added the fae, the fae, which is the she, or the fae covers the whole section of those types of beings. That's the only thing I think they added, and the crystals. I
Yeah,
mean, it covers all of it. So I think we kind of covered that.
I think we did.
We
Now,
did it.
the next one is my personal favorite, because when I saw this, I'm like, this is so me. I already told you my tea leaf reading story, but I have all kinds of teas because I love teas, and my mom taught me about herbs, and I rely on them heavily. In fact, for those of you who ever feel like you are being hexed or cursed or there's something on you, I actually recommend, and this works very well, is to get a tea bag. You can buy sage tea where it's already in the bags, or you can just gather up some sage, and if you have a coffee filter, you can tie it up in a coffee filter. If you have a tea ball or something like that, or just put it in hot water and strain it out. If you take sage and one clove, just one, because cloves are very strong, and invoke their protective and exorcism powers and drink it, you will feel so much better, because you are literally taking in that exorcism and protection and banishment energy into your body, and it becomes a part of it, and it will force, if there's something in there, it will force it out, and you will feel so much better. And so I use a lot of different kinds of teas in magic work. I call it potion magic. I don't call it tea magic, because I do potions, all kinds, my smoothie potions, my tea potions. But because I'm a Pisces and watery, I work a lot with different kinds of fluids and things like that. So I am definitely a tea craft person. And I know you do tea work too, don't you, Got a Star?
Absolutely. I drink tea, and I create a lot of I make a lot of different types of teas based on a particular ailment for people. Um, Whether it's and sometimes some of the teas we're not even drinking, but we take it and we steep it and we put it on whatever it is. Like just to give you an example, comfrey. If you steam some comfrey and you take it and you leave it for a bit, and then you put it on your joints or anything like that for pain, it helps soothe the pain and calms it down. Um, so it's not just ingesting it by drinking it. You can use a lot of them for on the outside also as compresses for
Mm-hmm.
different ailments. Um, uh, Wormwood is one of those. And if you saw, I posted today about the 40s vinegar. There are so many different types of herbs that I have in there, and a lot of it, as you mentioned, exorcism type, expelling from the body. Some of it I did not mention because it's so long, a lot of the things that I was writing up about it. Some of the ingredients in it is great for if someone has worms, it expels the worms from the body, which a lot of people have worms in their body and don't realize it, and they're not supposed to be there. And it will expel it from the body as well. So it's very good for that. Wormwood is one of those things. So there's a lot of different types of herbs that you can use, whether drinking it as a tea or as a tincture or as a compress in some way. Begin to learn about your herbs and what they can do and cannot do. You cannot, and what you can put on the outside of the body and different things, and make it work for you. I created it for pain as well. An essential oil and herb mixture that I made. I forgot how many ingredients is in that, but it works and it helps a lot. And I live with my herbs and my oils. I cannot do my magic without them. Over everything that I do, one form or another. It's part of my life with the tea and everything else. So I suggest I even make my shampoos, my conditioner, everything based on depending on the herb, mixing rosemary and basil and all the different things that's great for your hair. And I drink it as a tea, great for the hair to help with the growth and to keep it nice and soft and healthy. And then drink it as a tea as well as you can put it on your hair to rinse your hair out. But it's kind of cool that all these things are natures or dual things that you can do with them. So many different facets to them.
There are so,
Love
it's
it.
really important to really study the medicinal properties of them too. A really good
Yeah.
book is Back to Eden by Jethro Kloss. I recommend that book. It's
Yes,
really
that is such. Oh my goodness,
book.
I
That
love
was
that
the
book.
first book my
Yes,
mother gave me when I was a
mine
teenager.
too.
And
Mine
I
too.
think probably the best part about that book is that it gives you, this is very important because herbs are not just benign things. They can interfere. They're medicine. Medicines that we take today are synthetic forms of herbs. They just made them synthetic because it's cheaper for them to do it. But they can because of their medicinal properties, they can interfere if you are already on a certain medication or if you have a certain ailment that it can make worse or something. And Back to Eden is the only herbal book I've ever seen that will tell you the contraindication. So if you have high blood pressure, you don't want to take this one because it could raise your high blood pressure. If you're on high blood pressure medication, if you're on birth control pills, you could drink this and it could negate your birth control pills. These are really important things. So I always tell people when they start to get, if you're not learned in the medicinal parts of it and you ingest it, at least get this book so that if you're trying to do something and you have an ailment or you're on a certain medication or something and you don't want to cancel that out, or let's just say you're pregnant and you decide you want a nice hot cup of chamomile tea. Well, chamomile tea expands the uterus and it can cause a miscarriage. Actually, we figured out from my sister, when my sister was carrying one of her children and she was on bed rest for 7 months because she kept going into premature labor. And this girl, my sister, she drank chamomile tea, by like, no, she just loved chamomile tea. And I never really even paid attention. I was like, well, wait a minute. One day I said, chamomile tea, you're not supposed to drink that if you're pregnant because it can actually cause you to go into labor. And she's like, I've been drinking gallons of it. But she didn't know because first of all, she's not a witch. She's a born again Christian. And also because it tasted good and it didn't have caffeine in it, she just guzzled it all the time, not realizing that's what put her on bed rest because of that. So it's really important to not just, say, okay, I'm going to go out and get this herbal tea because it's good for this. At least take the time to make sure that it is safe for you to do so, because you can use herbs, to clear up your skin. You were talking about comfrey for inflammation. Well, if you combine comfrey and black cohosh root and you have the flu, you'll cough, I'm not going to lie, you will cough like a maniac for like 15 minutes. But in 15 minutes, everything that's in there is up and out and you'll be good to go.
Yeah.
Good to go.
But there it is.
And so but I do want to caution, because we talk a lot about herbs and drinking them and things like that. I do want to caution you that herbs are not just these benign substances that can't hurt you. They can hurt you. If you have certain ailments or things going on, you want to make sure that whatever it is that you're ingesting is not going to either make your ailment worse or cancel out your medications or anything like that. So please do invest in Back to Eden by Jethro Kloss. This family has been doing this for like over 100 years. They've been
and they
into
pass it
natural therapies, and they really are very detailed in how to apply it or how to use it and how to create it and things like that. So I would suggest for everyone to do that, because we don't want you drinking things that have natural abortion properties and you're pregnant, or if you already have a heart ailment or high blood pressure, you don't want to take in some things that can make that worse and actually sicken you even worse than you were beforehand. So just go ahead, if you're going to get into drinking herbs and teas and things like that, by all means, just take a moment to get that book and look things up just to make sure that you're not harming yourself. Because a lot of people are like, well, it's just herbs, I can drink it. Well, herbs are medicine. They are medication. And all of the medications that you take, they spend millions of dollars and destroyed the rainforest just because of the different healing herbs there, so that they could figure out how to make it synthetically so that they could make it cheaper and make more money from it. And so every medication that you take is technically based on an herbal remedy, even though they turned it into something synthetic. So you want to just be careful if you do have an ailment or things like that, or you're pregnant especially. Don't think, well, I'll just have a nice cup of chamomile tea because it tastes good and it's warm. You can actually hurt yourself. And now, of course, on the other hand, if your period is late and you're not interested in being pregnant, go ahead. You can drink that. I've had people that panicked, and I said, drink some chamomile tea, and they drank it, and they got their menses the next day, and they were good to go. So, just be careful also, because I didn't want to say, oh, just go out and get this tea and that tea and drink it, and I don't know what your problems are, your challenges are. And that's really up to you to be responsible about your own health. So again, it's called Back to Eden by Jethro Kloss and the Kloss family, Kloss. Best book you could ever have on your shelf for if you are into natural herbal therapeutics. It's excellent. And you can use them. They teach you how to make creams, shampoos, everything. Like I mix herbs with Dr. Bonner's. It's a natural soap for shampoos and
yes.
and things like that. And tea rinses for your hair are great. Especially nettles. Nettles will make your hair soft and shiny and even almost retexturize it. It's so strong, nettles tea. But if you're going to ingest, then please take the time to make sure that tea that you're drinking it's okay for you to drink, depending on what your challenges are. If you have any challenges, you might not have any challenges, but it would be good just for your own sake to know. And it also will teach, this way you can start learning about it. And then if you want to make suggestions to people, you can say, but don't drink it if you have this or whatever. Because you have to, if you're going to be a witch and give herbal remedies out, you have to be a responsible witch and make sure that you're not actually harming them worse than they were when they came to you. So you have to ask, what do you have this? Do you have that? Because can affect this, or this can affect that, or whatever.
And
all right.
Add what are you taking?
And so next up, okay, Alicia says here, I'm going to put it here, Alicia. The name of the book is Back to Eden.
It's an amazing book. It's an amazing book. And if you are, and adding to what Rhonda said, I also have a tendency to ask people what medications are they on. If you read the book, it tells you, it's one of the most, it's like Goddess Rhonda said, it's one of the most informative herbal book I have ever read. And no matter who puts out whatever herbal book, Jethro Kloss and they are amazing. They're very old school, and they will tell you everything, all the nitty-gritty of every type of herb and everything out there. It's amazing. You would not, and it's actually not very expensive.
No, it's not.
I remember buying it one time for $5. It's like between $5 to $12 for the book. Not expensive, but it's really well written, and it's really thick and very, very informative. You would not regret buying that book. One of the best out there.
All right.
Okay.
Nate here is fooling us. And I have to, because I've never heard of this, Nate. And I just love that you come to our show and teach us these things. Are you ready for this one, Goddess Star?
What is that?
There is a big old bag of magic around cakes and baking. Some use it like candle magic. Also bread. There are special types of bread that are magical, and these often are braided depending on tradition. Hoodoo and Appalachian magic uses a lot of special breads. If you have something that won't leave your home that a guest brought, pour whiskey on whatever is left of your loaf of bread. Have the top of the bread torn or cut off and soak it well. This is called get it bread, because you say, get it bread, get it. And then you throw the bread far out from the home. and it always works. Homemade bread is stronger because you have already used the fire spirits in the oven, but it's a good idea to make a small loaf for the hearth, kitchen, god, oven spirits too whenever making magic bread. Okay, I love the idea of, I love bread, so I'm down with the magic bread. I'm going to go ahead and give that one a try because that just sounds very way cool. And J.K. said that she's seen that, the braided bread, though she hasn't tried it herself. And Alicia says, I like the bread info. I was actually reviewing ancient bread recipes earlier today. You know what's funny, Nate, is I've been looking into getting a bread machine to make my own bread. I used to have one and mine died. I used to, I've been cooking since I was 4 years old. My mother had me cooking at 4. And I had to get up every day because my mother baked our bread. And every night I'd get up and I'd punch the dough down. But I don't really have that kind of time anymore. So I wanted to get a bread machine. All right. So Alicia says, I like the bread info. She was reviewing ancient bread recipes. So not any magic ones, but now I have a new subject to research. So do I. I'm grateful for that. And J.K. says, I've done plenty of small loaves, but hadn't tried the braided ones yet. There's a lot of magic in them. And I knew someone who lost their girlfriend over a toxic mix of herbs and meds. Yeah, and that can happen. And I'm sorry about that. And they thought the herbs were harmless too. And Alicia, I did put the book into the chat room. And J.K. says, I'm on meds too, so I have to be careful. I usually use herbs for things like to sprinkle in the home or incense or satchels, medicine bags, etc., instead of ingesting. All great information. And Nate, I will be looking into the magic bread because I am going to get a bread machine because I want to make it myself like I used to. And now I'll just get I'll turn it into a magic bread machine because I'm really grooving on that. I am. I'm grooving on that totally.
Yeah. All right, well, isn't that kind of what?
Go ahead. What were we saying?
Yeah. No, I'm saying that kind of goes into the whole topic of the next one type of magic, is tech magic that is skillfully worked through technology, hence the bread magic machine.
Yes, my magic bread machine.
A tech witch will most likely have at least a few magical apps on their phone, digital, or an online digital BOS or grimoire. Okay. Actually, well, I know a lot of witches. I know a lot of tech witches, but me personally, I'm old school. I am not a tech witch in any way in that sense. I love the bread machine when I had it. I killed that thing. I used to love waking up the next day, put all the ingredients in, and then wake up the next day and have that bread smelling so nice.
Oh, it smells so good.
Oh my God, it's the beautiful bread. And then when my husband woke up, I'd be like, see, honey, I made you bread. Ingredients in the machine, and voila!
I used to have a bread machine too, and it died, and I want a new one. You know what, Goddess? We might be old school, and I am totally old school. However, we do, even as old school as we are, we do tech magic. We put protections into our computer to keep people from messing with us while we're doing, our shows and things like that. So we do. Maybe we're not. I would definitely not call myself a tech witch because I'm actually tech challenged. I have to learn, and it's very frustrating. Once I get it, I get it. But it's the learning process I hate. I'd rather just do things the old school way and just do it that way.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing with the younger generation, there's probably a lot more of them that do. In fact, I was watching one of my favorite shows, and I know there's got to be other Buffy the Vampire Slayer fans out there.
That's me.
And I just love that. Do you remember they had a show where Willow was this genius child, literally, and it was she had it, and she met a guy online. I can't remember what his name was.
Oh, I remember that show.
She was talking to him and she was in love with him and blah, blah, blah. Well, it turned out that what had happened was, what was the librarian's name? It's Giles. Giles, who was also not tech savvy, had decided that they were going to computerize all of these old ancient books that he had on magic and demons and things.
Yes,
And
I
he had
remember that.
Willow
Yeah.
doing it because she knew how to scan it into the computer. Well, when they scanned this book on demons, the demon actually went into the computer, and he had a teacher who helped him. She called herself a neo-pagan or something like that. And her coven was online, and to fight this demon, her coven for each, wherever they were all over the world, I think there was like 9 of them, set up their circle online to fight this thing. And I thought that was really fascinating, and they managed to cast it out of the computer. Of course, then they had to deal with it in the real world, but still, they cast it out of the computer. And so I'm guessing
I remember this too. That was
today's
cool.
kids, you know, they probably can do things like that because they're so tech savvy. Whereas we didn't grow up with computers, you know, we grew up the old school way. But I'm guessing there's probably is a whole form of tech magic that now I have to write that down so I can look that up too, because maybe there's something that'll help me get more tech savvy.
Well, the thing about it is, though, it's just, I'm going to remain old school. It is good to know the knowledge about everything else, so to defend yourself or work with it, or like you said, exercise them from the computer, you know, and bring them into the real world. I think it's kind of cool. You have to learn it.
It sounds fascinating, tech magic. I'm just curious. All right, so let's see. I just have to look because you know how I am. Once my brain grabs onto something, I can't help it. Oh, look at that. How to use technology for better magic. There's lots of stuff here. In fact, Goddess Star, we did a show on is technology replacing magic. Do you remember?
Yeah.
We did a show on it, on technology replacing magic. And here's this website.
No.
We did. I will look it up and I will tell you.
Yes, because we were saying that everything now is being placed in the technology world. Everything that people are doing, the new apps are being created, all the different things, we're handing over our lives to computer or technology. And I don't know if that's a positive thing, because I think it's too much out there. And it is, yeah, we did that show on it taking over certain things. Because just to give you an example, I like old school cars. I like the old heavy metal cars that protect your body, as opposed to, this is my conspiracy theory that, you know, that you like to go on about conspiracy theory. My thing is that the new type of cars that are all with so many different gadgets on it that are they talk to you, the different things. And now that Google, I think, is going to be putting out that new taxi that drives itself. All these things, I think we're handing over our lives too much. And then all those people are going to lose their jobs. All those people. But the conspiracy theory is the cars that are being made with the plastic body, that the minute you touch it, it crashes in and that person is on the inside. There are a lot more accidents now, the person where it's fatal, than ever before.
Wow.
Because before, the cars were made from big, heavy metal bodies, so they protected that person on the inside.
That's right.
Now, most of the cars don't have any bumpers. They barely have any bumpers at all, if at all, which was meant to protect the car. Now they barely have that. And the cars cave right in, right away, to hurt people. So the cars are disposable, and you know, you just spent a lot of money now buy a new one because it's totaled. The word is now totaled. Everything's totaled. Right? So it's disposable. Your life is disposable. Get rid of people that they think cannot afford the big heavy metal body cars, because those cars are all very, very expensive. If a true heavy metal body car, expensive now. Now, the reason I like the old cars, because you can buy it cheaper and the bodies are heavy metal bodies. If you go to, say, an old Jeep that has a diesel engine or something like that, and you take a new car. My friend has a new car that She had one little light out, a light, one little red light, and her car shut down and would not go. It
Wow.
just would not go. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It's a stupid little thing, right? Now, have that old time of Jeep that you have that has a diesel engine, you could run it on vegetable oil. And half the time, especially the stick shift, you could pop the clutch and roll it forward and go. You can't do that with a regular car.
No, you cannot.
You know, all these things that I'm just like, wait a minute. I'm very independent. I want to be able to get my ass out of there if I need to. You cannot do that with the new cars. And I really believe that this is their way of thinning out the people that they think that don't have the kind of money that should be on their level.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my conspiracy theory part. So disposable cars, disposable people, and then you must come back and buy that car because now it's total. So now you can't even fix it. You got to go and buy a new one. So now we got your money again.
Right.
And it's a vicious cycle that people are going through. And if you check it out, there are more and more car accidents that are fatal because the cars are no longer protecting the human being on the inside. Theory on it. So and that's my part about the tech part because I think we're kind of giving up too much
Mm-hmm.
of ourselves, too much, and then we wonder why a person is able to usurp our roles or to take on our become us.
Right.
They literally will steal your identity. There's too many ways now that they can do it too easily because we've given up all that information to the apps and the different techniques and everything. And the people that are off the grid or living off the grid and stuff, people don't have the information. They just don't. They don't go to the tech things and all the different things. I'm not saying because to give it up entirely because I'll tell you, I can't live without my laptop. Right here, this is not going from me. I love my laptop. I'm not saying no. I'm just simply saying how many gadgets are going to be able to hook up one to the other where we have all of our information in the cloud and everywhere else. You know, so I think I kind of think twice. My magic and all of that. And you remember how we had that theory about um, the witch hunt and all the different
Yeah.
things? I think when we become tech magicians or tech witches, all of our information about who we are and what we are as witches are there. And I think it gives them a direct line address or web address directly to you as to, you can't deny who you are. Here, we've got it right here in print as to who,
Right.
I'm just saying it's something to think about. What do you think, babe? Goddess.
I think you're no, listen, you know me, I'm with you all the way. The
It's
things
just,
that they're doing and the Uber's coming out with a taxi that a driverless taxi, Google cars, or maybe it's an
yep,
Apple car. Someone's already got one running.
yep,
And even the airplanes are computerized now. The airplane pilots used to, there's an old saying called flying by the seat of your pants. And the way that the origin of that term is back in the olden days, the aircraft, they didn't have computers and things like that that would help you to navigate and see in the fog and things like that. And literally the pilots would fly and know what was going on based literally like in the vibrations that they were feeling in their seat that they were sitting on. Hence the term flying by the seat of your pants, because you were literally navigating based on whatever vibration or feeling that was coming through you through your backsides while you were sitting there. And so now, you had to be a skill to get a job as a pilot. You had to really know what you were doing because there were no computers to help you. You were on your own. Now,
right,
it's all computerized. That the pilots pretty much get to, sit back and chill out. They put their route into the navigation system, and then they can just pretty much sit back and just make sure things are going. And a lot of planes now, it used to be you had to have two people flying a plane. You see nowadays when you get off a plane, there's only one guy that comes out of the cabin, the captain's cabin. They don't need two people
that's
anymore.
scary.
Which it is scary because I say bring the other person. What if something happens to the captain? What if he has a heart attack or you get sick or
Right,
something?
right.
And at least you had a backup flyer. That kind of scared me. It's like, well, wait a minute. We're putting
Yeah, right.
a lot of faith in this one dude here, but technology is a beautiful thing, but it's also a very frightening thing because it is replacing us And, you know, Goddess Star and I, we did a show about it, that if we keep hammering it home, that we need to be even more skilled as witches than we were before, because we may have to go back to the time where we had to literally survive on our own based on our skills and what our crafts were, what we could trade, what we could grow, that sort of thing. Because the big companies, they're not going to care that you don't have a job. All they care about is their profits and their bottom line. And so it's very important for us as witches to really bone up on our skills, because also we'll have to teach other people how to survive and things like that, how to use natural herbs and things. That's why now's a really good time to get that Jethro Kloss book, because it may come down to a time where if things go bad and you don't have health insurance and you have to treat your own stuff, at least you'll know where to start and what kind of herbs you can get and things like that. So, you know, we're just saying, and hoping none of this will come to pass. But if it does, be ready, because it was in the olden days that the community relied on the witches for help. And so we may go back to that, where you're going to be the town witch, where people are going to have to come to you for help and things like that. So really bone up on your skills, because it could actually come down to that, and maybe sooner than we think. So we want to be really careful with that.
And I wanted to kind of say what some of them are saying in the chat room. Jakey said, tech magic sounds cool, but I like the old school too.
Me too.
And then Alicia Faye says, my car is a 1987 Chevy Caprice. Woo!
Very, very cool.
Cars. I am not kidding. They protect your body. That's what they're supposed to have done. And now they don't. And then Jakey says, used to have a 1973 Duster. She was a tank. I loved her. Yes. See? And then AK okay. Says all these new cars transmissions keep going out. They are meant to do that, because then you keep spending money and spending more money. In the meantime, you're not even earning that money anymore, because they're cutting down on jobs, but they want you to spend more money on the other end. You know, and then Jakey says, Albuquerque is #1 in auto thefts, but not even worth having a car out here. I'll tell you guys a trick with that part. Get a stick shift car. If you know how to drive stick shift, majority of people do not know how to drive stick shift, because when they try to steal my big old car downstairs, I think they just went and they stopped because they couldn't drive stick shift. They didn't know how to do it. So they had to leave my car. So you can see that they broke into the car. They took the radio, but they couldn't steal the car. I'm like, cool, you know, because I drove a stick shift. But they just thought it was a car and they'll take it, you know. So if you have a stick shift, you're holding on to your car. Then Alicia Faye says, I think Star is right with her new car conspiracy. I really believe that, because I am hearing so many fatal car accidents, where before you didn't used to hear about that many fatality, because the cars were protecting the person, the metal bodies. Now these plastic cars that fold in, they say it's meant to fold in to protect you, but I'm not sure about that kind of logic, because if something folds in on you, does that not mean you die, you get hurt? So their logic makes no sense to me. Their kind of logic and my kind of logic does not agree at all. Two different sides of the coin. And then garden. Okay, maybe that's the garden one. Okay, I think I'm going beyond that. Okay, so anyways, that's my theory on that with the tech part. So I think tech magic is great and all of that. Use it for certain things that you need, like how we're using this for YouTube and all the different broadcasting that we're doing. But outside of that, I tend to keep a lot of my information for me separately, you know, and just be aware of things, because that old car, I guarantee you that old car will get you out of trouble faster than that new car, because the silly things that those cars and new cars get shut down on before is ridiculous. You know, you should not have to be a little literally. And I'm asking her, why is the car out? And then they just put this tiny little red thing into the car and then they charged us $700. And I'm
Mhm.
standing there going, for what? I'm the one arguing for her because she didn't even have the money, and I'm standing there going, for what? That little red gadget, which probably cost you $10. I told him. I said, she's not paying you $700. Come up with a different amount. I was just like, come up with a different amount, and we'll let you know. We'll do a negotiating. And the guy's looking at me like, what are you doing? But that's just me. I'm not gonna negotiate everything in general. Okay, sweetie. So what's next, goddess?
All righty. So next we have. I was just scrolling through. I can't believe how many. We still have four more pages.
We do.
Of. Yeah, we're not going to be able to finish all this,
I
but
was enjoying this so much I didn't even realize the time.
there is. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna highlight here because we stopped. We've already done. We just did tech magic, right?
Yeah, so we have garden magic and elemental magic going on from there.
You've got garden, elemental, then they break it down: water, earth, air, fire, flora, urban witch, fairy, and fey witches, spirit working, draconian witches, seasonal witches, embroidery, sewing, and knitting witches, paper witches, music witches. And we've got four more pages of bone witches, literary witches. I'm interested in that. Um, we've got four more pages of these, so I think we will save this for maybe we'll just finish this next week, or we'll figure it out because we now that we've gotten started, I want to go over all of these because I'm actually
Yeah,
learning
there's a
on this
spirit
myself.
working, draconian. There's the draconian, the seasonal, the embroidery.
Yeah,
I've
there
never heard
are
of some of them.
people that you put the stitches in, and with each stitch you're sewing an intention. There's
Yeah, that's so cool.
swamp witches,
Okay.
candle witches, knot cord and color witches, bottle witches, vocal witches, binding witches, puppet witches, glamour witches, poison path witches,
Oh,
desert
can't wait.
witches.
I
Interested
cannot
in
wait.
that one.
Yeah,
There's
this is
just
gonna be
so many that we have to go over these. So we're going to keep going over these
I
because
hope
I
you're
really like it.
looking forward to it the same way we are because we do enjoy this with you guys. I don't know about you guys, but I have to tell you how much we enjoy the show with you guys.
Very much so. I love having, just learning about the bread magic and
Yeah,
all these different things. I love this. And even looking at these different types of witchcrafts, things that I've never heard of. Now I've got like all new worlds opening in front of me. And, having you guys on this journey, this learning journey with us and, exchanging knowledge and wisdom with us, because you all seem very knowledgeable. You have all your own knowledge that you share, which is fabulous. I just love it. It's like becoming like a big learning circle.
yeah,
And it's something that I really enjoy. And again, we've said this before and we'll say it again. If there's something that you would like us to center a show around, a certain form of magic or spirituality, you can join our Priestess View show group and you can ask us and we will design shows around questions that you have because we have to do the homework too. And so when you give us something new that we may not have, and I haven't heard of everything. Some of these things tonight I haven't heard of. I
yeah.
love learning. I said it before and I'll say it again. We are lifetime learners. And so hearing this just really excites me to open up all these worlds and share them with you and hear your feedback and responses and things like that. You guys are actually the show. We're just sort of messengers where we're, trying to share some knowledge with you, but it's because of you that we come here every Monday night, and it just makes me feel better, even just to do the show and to be communing with your energy. And everyone here is just so wonderful and knowledgeable and sharing and caring. I just love it. I love you guys. We just love you. Mwah. Sending you tons and tons of kisses because we love you so much. And I'm sending you a tech hug too. Not really sure how a tech hug would work, but through technology, I'm hugging you through the technology of the computer. I don't know if it's working, but hopefully you can.
Wait a minute. So some of the tech things when we say hug and love, that's good, because you can hear us and you know that you from our genuineness of how we feel about it. So you
Right.
got that, right? Whereas a lot of texts are from you, but you're hearing it from us, right?
There
And I'm
you
here.
go. All right, everybody. As always, we love you to pieces. And I think we are going to continue this next week, because I found that a lot of times when we stop and then we go back to something, people think it's a repeat of the old show, and this is not a repeat. So we're just going to, next week, we're going to keep going, because we might as well learn all about this while we can. And it's just so fascinating to hear about all of these different kinds of witchcrafts and things like that. And we just love hearing what you have to say about it. So with all of that said, we love you and we honor you and we cherish you, and we are so grateful for you. And happy solstice, happy new
Right,
moon.
yes, Lipa.
We've
It's
got the
going
new
to be on the
moon
21st. That's Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yes, Wednesday.
And no, the new moon. No, new moon is on Friday.
Right,
Yes, the new moon is on Friday. The solstice is on Wednesday.
Wednesday.
So this is
Yeah.
a very magical week. By all means, take advantage of the magic of this week. It's awesome,
Yeah. Happy
awesome, awesome,
solstice.
awesome.
Yeah, happy
You know,
solstice, and hope you guys, I call it the Midsummer Night's Dream rituals and stuff like that. Have as many of those as you can and enjoy the season for what it is. And again, Goddess bless, and God and Goddess bless to you all. All right, Goddess Rhonda.
all righty. We love you very much. And as always, marry me,
Marry,
marry hard,
marry me,
and marry me again.
marry me again.
Thank you, everyone. Have an awesome week. And please
See you
take
guys next time.
advantage of this wonderful energy. You know, we've got a new season and a new moon. This is fresh start, fresh beginnings. Let's
Yes.
go for it. Let's go for it. All righty. We love you to pieces, and we will see you next week. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.